Hi there, and welcome to Ku English. In this series, we explore the lives of amazing people and help you improve your English at the same time. Ready? Let's dive in. Franz Kafka, Where a Mind Was Formed, Part 1. Chapter 1. A Child Between Worlds. Franz Kafka was born on July 3, 1883, in Prague, a city that already lived between worlds. At that time, Prague belonged to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and its streets echoed with multiple languages, loyalties, and quiet tensions. German was the language of administration and upward mobility, Czech the language of the majority, and Jewish life moved uneasily between both. Kafka was born into a German-speaking Jewish family that sought security and respectability in a society that never fully accepted them. His father, Franz Kafka, had risen from poverty through sheer force of will. He began life as the son of a butcher in a small village and built himself into a successful businessman in Prague. Tall, loud, and dominating, Hermann believed deeply in discipline, strength, and social advancement. He admired authority and expected obedience. Franz's mother, Julie, came from a more educated and culturally refined family. She was intelligent and capable, but much of her energy was consumed by managing the household and supporting her husband's business. From early childhood, Franz lived under the shadow of his father's presence. Hermann's booming voice, his physical confidence, and his certainty about how life should be lived created an atmosphere in which Franz felt small and uncertain. The boy was sensitive, observant, and inward-looking. Where his father valued action, Franz was drawn to reflection. Where Hermann trusted clear rules and rewards, Franz sensed ambiguity and hidden danger. This difference did not remain abstract. It shaped daily life. Hermann often mocked Franz's fears and weaknesses, sometimes openly, sometimes with casual cruelty. Franz later described moments when his father's anger made the world feel unstable and threatening. One famous childhood memory involved being locked out on a balcony at night as punishment, an incident Kafka recalled not for its physical hardship, but for the deep sense of abandonment it produced. Authority, he learned early, could be sudden, unexplained, and absolute. Kafka was not alone in the household, but loneliness still defined his inner life. Two of his younger brothers died in infancy, a loss that left a quiet but lasting mark. His three sisters, Gabrielle, Valerie, and Ottilie, survived into adulthood, yet Franz often felt emotionally isolated. He retreated into books and imagination, developing an inner world that felt safer and more coherent than the outer one. Prague itself mirrored his inner division. As a German-speaking Jew, Kafka belonged fully to no group. He was separated from the Czech majority by language, from German culture by geography, and from traditional Jewish life by his family's level of assimilation. This triple distance planted an early awareness of being an outsider, someone present but not fully included. The feeling would later become central to his fiction, long before he had words for it. Chapter 2. Education and Early Discipline. Kafka's education followed the path expected of a middle-class German-speaking family. He attended the German boys' elementary school and later the Altstädter Deutsches Gymnasium, a demanding secondary school with a strict curriculum. The classroom emphasized discipline, memorization, and respect for authority. Creativity was secondary. Obedience was essential. Kafka performed well academically, but school did not bring him joy. The rigid structure echoed his home life, reinforcing the sense that life was governed by distant rules enforced by powerful figures. Teachers, like his father, represented authority that could not be questioned. Success came through endurance rather than inspiration. Yet, within this system, Kafka discovered literature. Reading became not only an escape, but a quiet form of resistance. He encountered German classics, philosophical texts, and later modern writers who suggested that inner experience mattered as much as external achievement. Writing began early, though much of his youthful work was destroyed. Even then, he felt both drawn to and ashamed of his creative impulses. sensing they might be judged as impractical or weak. At home, expectations were clear. Franz was to prepare for a respectable profession, one that would secure financial stability and social standing. Literature was tolerated as a hobby, not a destiny. Kafka absorbed this message deeply. His later life would be shaped by the tension between duty and desire, a conflict first rehearsed during these school years. His Jewish identity during this period remained distant and abstract. The family observed major holidays, but religious practice was minimal. Kafka did not receive a deep religious education, yet the language of guilt, judgment, and law surrounded him, from both Jewish tradition and imperial bureaucracy. These ideas settled quietly into his imagination, waiting. Chapter 3: Seeds Beneath the Surface. By the time Kafka finished secondary school, the outlines of his future struggles were already visible, though still unnamed. He had learned to doubt himself, to fear authority, and to measure his worth through external approval. At the same time, he had developed a sharp eye for contradiction and injustice, and a deep sensitivity to emotional nuance. His body, like his mind, resisted simple expectations. Kafka was often ill, anxious, and fatigued. Physical weakness reinforced his sense of being unsuited to the robust, confident life his father admired. Yet this vulnerability sharpened his attention. He noticed details others ignored, emotional shifts others dismissed. Before entering university, Kafka stood at a threshold. Outwardly, he was a successful student, ready to continue along a respectable path. Inwardly, he carried an unformed but persistent sense that life was more complex, more troubling, and more fragile than it appeared. The questions he had not yet learned to ask already pressed against him. Part 1 ends here. At the moment, before awakening, the child shaped by authority, loneliness, and cultural tension is about to encounter ideas that will give language to his unease. Thanks for learning with Ku English. In the next part, don't forget education will expand his world and subscribe, even as his inner conflict grows sharper and more difficult to escape.